Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grit Live News Saturday. We invite you all to participate in the chat room below. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish.net, and with me, as always, Joe Samniego. We want to start off our program by congratulating Honda Al Kabasi on her big win today in Formula 4 UAE. Her fourth victory in Formula 4, making her the most successful female driver in Formula 4 worldwide. And we'll start off with major breaking news that caught many by surprise yesterday.
Definitely some big news that caught many by surprise yesterday. Yesterday, Sports Business Journal John Oren broke the surprising news that NBC Sports Network will be shutting down at the end of the 2021 calendar year. In a memo, NBC Universal said, "We are aware of how quickly the media landscape is evolving, and our company is taking thoughtful steps to stay ahead of those trends wherever possible and, in many instances, help set them." Now, of course, this is really big news that generated a ripple effect around the sports world as NBC Sports Network is viewed in 80.6 million homes. Compare that to CBS Sports at 60.1 million and Fox Sports 1 at 79.8 million. Only ABC's ESPN channel at 86 million has more homes where they're viewed at compared to NBC Sports Network. This announcement also indicates that the sports content will move to other NBC channels and the USA Network. USA Network is available at 90.4 million homes according to Variety magazine. USA's network is in the top 20 most watched cable channels. NBC Sports Network was 64th, tied with the DYI network, and was the lowest among NBC branded channels. Kobe, initially everyone thought with the surprising news, it was a great shock. But after seeing some of these numbers, does this move by NBC make sense?
I'm not really sure if it makes sense, but it definitely caught many by surprise, as you mentioned, including myself. I really did not expect to see NBCSN shutting down. That news was an absolute stunner to me, and I'm starting to wonder if this had anything to do with the global pandemic and losing millions and millions of dollars. I know NBC really banks on the funding that comes from the Summer Olympic Games. In 2020, we didn't have the games, obviously, and they were postponed to this year in Tokyo, Japan. And now there's rumblings going around from several media outlets that the Japanese government is talking about canceling the Tokyo Olympics altogether and focusing on 2024 in Paris, France, I believe. So if that's the case, and we're not going to have any Summer Olympics, that's going to be a massive hit to to NBC. And I'm wondering if that's going to have anything to do with the decision to shut down NBCSN. And you didn't mention USA Today is in the top 20 of most watched cable channels. And this is a coincidence, but I actually watched USA last night. Enjoyed watching one of my favorite shows, Monk.
Yeah, the USA Network definitely, it's been a long time staple when it comes to cable programs, especially basic cable. That's one of the big things why we see one of the highest rated programs of all time in cable for the long time was the old WWE Monday Night Raw, which still airs. So definitely there's a lot of viewers that are watching USA Network. And what's interesting, NBC said this move should essentially make USA channel more stronger. But of course, a lot of people are concerned about NASCAR, IndyCar, where are they going to go? I know NASCAR has a statement that's being displayed right now on the screen. When it comes to motorsports, of course, NBC Sports Network currently airs IMSA, IndyCar, MotoGP, and NASCAR content. According to Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal, reports that NASCAR is expected to move to the USA Network. The last time the Cup Series was on the USA Network was Watkins Glen during the 2016 Olympics. NASCAR's deal with NBC is through 2024. Is this news of race shifting from NBC Sports to USA Network a concern for NASCAR?
I don't think it's a major concern right now, and especially you mentioned with the current TV deal going through 2024, the Cup race will still be when they're on network TV. They'll still be able to be shown on NBC, but when they're not on there, they'll be on cable USA Network. And since USA Network is shown in way more homes than NBCSN, I still think that'll be a great way to reach the fans, and also for fans who have to stream. I'm not really exactly sure about USA Network streaming services, so I'll definitely have to research that later on, and I'll get back to everybody.
You bring up several good points. One of the big concerns I have, whereas with NBC Sports, not only do we have NASCAR, we have NASCAR America, NASCAR content on that channel throughout the week. USA Network, of course, they have their lineup of programs, whereas WWE programming, sitcoms, USA Originals. NASCAR is great for Sunday, Saturday, the weekends, but will we see any NASCAR programming throughout the week? It sort of reminds me of TNN, the national network, prior to their rechange, when they would have a lot of country music television, and then Friday, Inside Winston Cup racing with Ned Jarrett, and then every once in a while they'll host a race on TNN on Saturday and Sundays. Now, of course, another series impacted by this big news was IndyCar. So definitely it was going to be something where with IndyCar, we're going to see a lot of changes because, of course, they left longtime partner ABC, which used to air every Indy 500 up until 2019. Of course, now they're in a deal with NBC for 2019-2021. Adam Stern did report that IndyCar is transitioning to the Peacock Premium later this year. Now at the end of 2021, where does IndyCar go? And can IndyCar go back to ABC?
Before I answer your IndyCar question, I wanna respond to something you said about NASCAR America, and that's a great point you brought up right there, and all of the motorsports programming. If it's on USA Network right now, we know USA Network shows a whole bunch of shows, a lot of reruns. Like I mentioned, I like watching Adrian Monk, one of my favorite shows, and Modern Family was on right before that. And and if they're only going to be showing NASCAR race on USA Network during the weekends, where are the motorsports programming going to show? Are we going to see any any more NASCAR America or anything like that? What's going to happen to practice and qualifying? Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of concerns there, and I'm expecting there might still be a NASCAR America. It might be behind a paywall somewhere on on one of the apps or whatever. So yeah, that's definitely one of my biggest concerns. Overall, I'm not really concerned about NASCAR showing the races on USA, but all of the stuff like practice, qualifying, I really do believe that's going to be only available on streaming in years to come. I think the only thing that we're going to see on TV in the future are just the NASCAR races themselves. But as far as other motorsports programming shows, I don't really see where there's going to be a place for it to be shown on TV. And in regards to your IndyCar question, I'm not really sure what's going to happen to IndyCar. I don't know if they're going to go back to ABC, ABC, ESPN, or maybe look at CBS Sports to be shown on the CBS Sports Network. I'm not really sure where IndyCar goes from here. I know a lot of people are worried about the transition to Peacock Premium because it would be such a shame if a lot of the IndyCar races are behind a paywall. And for the Indy 500, that's one race I believe that cannot ever go behind a paywall because that would be really devastating for the series. So I don't really see that happening for at least the Indy 500.
I would agree. I don't see the Indy 500 being one of those sporting events that'll be behind a paywall. That's like the Super Bowl, college football, college basketball championship games. They're always on the big networks. They bring in the big ratings. But definitely when it comes to the rest of the season, where will they end up? For IndyCar, I think it's really a tough situation. A lot of folks, it's only a 3-year deal with NBC. How come? Well, a lot of times 3-year deals seem to be a standard. Now it might be something where it's going to give them a benefit to shop around, find that better deal. Do they want to be stuck with NBC Premium? Would they like to go back to ABC, ESPN? Will ABC, ESPN want to work with IndyCar again and be back at the Indy 500? A lot of questions. I know one of the things some folks thought CBS Sports could be a big beneficiary from all this. CBS Sports did sign up Formula E. Of course, CBS Sports is in the very few homes, 60 million compared to NBC Sports Network, but this could be a good platform for them to expand their motorsports coverage.
Along with IndyCar, IMSA has a significant presence on NBC Sports Network, especially with Track Pass. For MotoGP, last year was his first season with NBC Sports, and many speculated that MVT was going to gravitate towards the motorsports crowd. But as we see now, that isn't going to happen, and many are wondering about the series going in a completely different direction. And when looking at the racing series that are on NBC Sports, only MotoGP has a subscription streaming service, and anyone can visit the MotoGP website, pay a fee, and have live coverage of all the races, practice sessions, and qualifying. Plus, you can rewatch all the races at any time during your leisure, including past seasons races. Formula One has Formula One TV, and Supercars offers the same service. Should IndyCar and NASCAR consider moving away from cable TV like Formula One, MotoGP, and other series to provide alternatives?
That's a really great question. Definitely, we encourage all our viewers comment in the chat room what you think about this NBC, and do you watch the USA Network as well? When it comes to essentially what Formula One, MotoGP is doing, is really handy because we could see the races live. I know even though this year NBC Sports had MotoGP race coverage, not all the races were shown live. Some of them were tape delayed. If you had the MotoGP streaming service subscription, you could get up, watch the race live, not wait for the television broadcast. Formula One shocked everyone when they turned down, I believe it was NBC, $13 million deal to air Formula One races on their network. Since Formula One has its new app, they turned them down, and the races are essentially shown for free on ESPN. That's why we see a lot of commercial-free ESPN coverage of Formula One. So it's really something where can NASCAR and IndyCar do that? The big difference, NASCAR and IndyCar, their crowd is predominantly in the United States. Formula One, MotoGP, very worldwide, global audience. Will this model work for a sport that is heavily based with United States fans? That's something I'm not 100% sure, and I still think there might be some ties where it's beneficial for them to be with a U.S. television network.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much money IndyCar and NASCAR fans will be willing to pay for something like that. I know there's a website I can't really think about. Can't think of the name right now off the top of my head. But I use it to watch World Endurance Championship races, European Le Mans Series, Asian Le Mans Series, supercars, all of those events, and and it's on this it's on the same website, and the price is really decent for yeah, I just thought about it. Motor Trend on Demand, that website is really crucial to me for my international motorsports coverage. And I'm just wondering, when thinking about something like that, to me it's worth paying for. But I'm wondering, like, for NASCAR and IndyCar fans, would they be willing to pay a, a, a um a specific portion of money in order to watch NASCAR IndyCar programming? That's certainly a question that I have. And the cut the cord movement, referring to cable, has been going on for a few years now. Premium cable channels are losing viewers as many reduce services. They might be losing me at some point, because our bill at home, we have Direct TV, is continuing to rise, and it's getting kind of ridiculous, to be honest. As we know, sports programs are among the most popular things that people want to watch. Does this favor series like IndyCar and NASCAR at the negotiation table for coverage deals?
That is a really something where on the surface it might seem like, okay, if NASCAR, IndyCar were to offer some sort of subscription-based service for the diehard fans, that's where you could see daily NASCAR program like a NASCAR America or NASCAR Race Hub, something like that. That'd be great for the diehard race fans. Definitely when it comes to the casual fans, having a presence on television screens is the best thing. We know there's a lot of people that'll watch the Daytona 500 because it's on the Fox network. They see the ads. Don't miss out on the races on FS1 because they don't have cable. When it comes to negotiating deals, especially IndyCar, they're going to be looking at shopping around for a new deal. Might be something beneficial. A deal with CBS, some of races on CBS Sports Network. Right now, currently 60 million homes, but definitely the big race, Indianapolis 500, will still be on that broadcast. And it does give them flexibility if they have that streaming service to say, well, we have our subscription-based thing, so additional content, you come to our service. But for the races, if we're on the television screen, it's a win. So I do think it might be a flexible benefit for IndyCar and NASCAR at the negotiating table. But as the media landscape's changing, it's just who knows where we're going to be, especially 2024 when NASCAR deal is up.
Yeah, definitely a lot can change between now and 2024. And we know this past year, NBC Sports has laid off employees, and the same thing for Fox Sports and ESPN. And we're really seeing a lot of that happening in the sports media world. Do you think this unfortunate pattern is going to continue well into the future as the industry evolves? Because we're seeing a lot of change, as I mentioned, the cut the cord movement. A lot of people are giving up on direct TV, Dish Network, Spectrum, and all of that, and they're deciding to only pay for the channels that they truly want to watch.
Do you see that trend continue on? It's been very interesting, and definitely want to give a shout out to Jack watching our program. Thank you for watching. Encourage everyone, especially Formula E fans, Formula E Zone, all of them, really great stuff. When it comes to essentially the cut the cord movement, it is changing the dynamic of media, and it's interesting to see how, of course, ABC always had ESPN. Then we saw NBC bring in NBC Sports Network, Fox Sports Network, Fox Sports One. Now we're seeing CBS Sports. And now this is the first one to be like, okay, we're shutting down our dedicated NBC Sports Network. Could we see something like CBS Sport after a few years? Okay, we're only at 60 million homes. We're going to shut it down, make it where our programs are going to be on our platforms, where it's Nickelodeon, which had an NFL game, CBS On Demand, whatever they have online, and then, of course, the broadcasting. It could really start changing everything up. And especially as NBC had said, when it comes to moving sports to the USA Network, it's going to make the USA Network stronger. They're in the top 20 programming channels when it comes to cable. So now that you have NASCAR, more people are going to watch the USA Network. So it's really interesting. But of course, this is definitely going to hurt all the people that are involved with this dedicated sports network.
And one thing that a lot of people have been thinking about, and even well before this big announcement about NBC Sports SN, and right there got a comment from Jack from Formula Zone that that's a shame that it's a shame that they're shutting down. They were good for European football. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, NBCSN, Jack. It's just super unfortunate that this is happening. But as we know in the sports media world, as I mentioned, it's always evolving, and many things are changing. And as I was saying, even before this news come out, people were wondering if it's feasible to have a motorsports only channel again, kind of like Speed back in the day, where it's nothing but motorsports content. I'm sure a lot of fans will like to see something like that come back. I'm just not sure if that'll be something that will be looked into again, because a lot's changed over the years since we had a network like Speed. So my question for you, Joe, is: do you think we'll ever see a channel dedicated to motorsports programs like Speed return to cable TV in the future, or is that just a distant memory?
I think in a major scale, like the Speed Network, might be a distant memory. Speed Network was, I believe, around 79,000 or 73,000 million homes at the peak. Right now, I know there is MAV TV, which is owned by the folks at Lucas Motor Oil, but that's, I believe, at only 7 million homes right now. Really a dedicated small crowd. Unless they were to really expand up, I just don't see where a network is going to take on the idea of trying to have all the major motorsports in one home. I know NBC tried to do that. They have NASCAR, they had IndyCar, but they lost at Formula One to ESPN. The Speed Channel, we know for the longest time they had for a while the three for a bit, but then they lost IndyCar, then they lost Formula One. So it's something where I don't see a dedicated motorsport channel, which is unfortunate. There is a motorsport community that would love to see that. But it might be something for an app, for online streaming. I don't see it, especially for major cable.
And you bring up a really good point about MAV TV not being in enough homes. Here in my home in Reedsville, North Carolina, we do have MAV TV. But when I was down in Charlotte, when I had Spectrum instead of Direct TV, we did not have MAV TV. So when I was down there, I couldn't watch the Chili Bowl on Mav TV. Had to watch it online streaming and instead. But here could watch the Chili Bowl on my TV. And if we wanted to make Mav TV, well, I mean, we it's already a motorsports network. But if we were able to add more programming to Mav TV, they'd definitely have to try to make it available in more homes, or otherwise it's just not going to work out. And this is a major development story that we will continue to follow throughout the 2021 racing season, especially where IndyCar is going to go in 2022 and beyond.
Definitely, we're going to be following this story throughout the entire year. And of course, once IndyCar decides where they're going to be shown for 2022. One of the big things, of course, World Rally Championship, their opening season race is going on right now. Today is the third day of the Rallye Monte Carlo, an eventful start to the 2021 World Rally Championship season. Currently, Sebastian Ogier is leading, entering the final day tomorrow. We've seen the battle between Ogier and Evans almost all event long. Will Ogier get his 8th Rallye Monte Carlo win?
I think he'll certainly be in the conversation for winnings. So Sebastian Ogier, you mentioned he leads in the final day, and that's definitely the right position to be in. You want to be out front, controlling your own destiny, but as we all know, it's not over until it's over.
It's not over till it's over, and that's a really good point that you bring up because early on we did see him get a puncture loosely. He has regained it though. That first day though, definitely was really interesting. One of the big things we saw was Teemu Suninen was on pace with the leaders, but a massive slide led to Teemu crashing and ending his race early. Both he and the co-driver were thankfully okay, but essentially they enter a slide, hit the bank, rolled the car several times into the ditch. They went. Tonic, the Hyundai led both stages on that first day over Kali Rovanpera in the Toyota. That was essentially the end of the first day. Elfyn Evans rounded off the top 3. But then the second day, Tonic, he started moving down. He fell down to 3rd in the standings. The 2 Toyotas got ahead of him, but it was again Sebastian Ogier, Elfyn Evans, the top 2 from last year's standing, bringing it to Hyundai. Then the puncture for Ogier. That dropped him down. Elfyn Evans, at the end of the day, got it around, but then we still saw Ogier try to get around and then put Evans in second place. As of right now, the third day of racing, Ogier's got ahead of Elfyn Evans. Rovanpera makes it a Toyota. 1, 2, 3 right now. Last year's winner, Thierry Neuville, my pick for pick a winner, currently sitting in 4th place. If Ogier holds off Evans with this win this weekend, does he make it a clear statement he is the man to beat to get a championship?
Yeah, definitely. I believe it would be a huge statement that he'll be the guy to beat in the championship. And I did see a quote from Ogier saying that in order to win Rallye Monte Carlo, that he needed to take some risks and just basically look a stamp and send it. And I remember there was talk last year, that Sebastian Ogier is basically like in the twilight of his World Rally Championship career, and he knows that he's on the downhill trend of, well, I mean, the downhill side of his career, where he's a lot closer to retirement than just simply racing for many more years. So since Ogier is, in that stage of your career when you don't know how many more years you're going to be racing, he definitely wants to go out there, win as many rallies as he can, and try to take home the championship, because you never know when it's going to be your last.
Yeah, this is definitely, he's looking really good right now. If he can make this statement that he's the man to beat, even though he, Kali, and Elfyn Evans have the same Toyota equipment, to go out there to get this win, and the fashion he has done it with the puncture coming back, all that, he makes it really clear. You don't have to worry about autonomy. You don't have to worry about Elfyn Evans. You got to worry about what I'm doing out there. And that's really going to be sending a strong message through the rest of the field. And one of the big news that we heard about, after participating in the FIA Girls on Track Rising Star program, Maya Wig became the first woman to be selected by the Ferrari Driving Academy. She has a 1-year contract with the Academy and will compete full-time in one of the F4 championships Maya said it was a huge honor to be in the academy and represent the FIA women in motorsports. This is a huge opportunity for her to pave the way for other women in Formula One driving development programs. Maya has joined the Ferrari Driver Academy that has a rich history of developing talented drivers, including Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, and Mick Schumacher. Will definitely be watching her development throughout her racing career under Ferrari's guidance.
As we predicted here on Grid Network, more schedule changes have occurred due to the uncertainty of the pandemic. MotoGP, IndyCar, and the FIA World Endurance Championship all saw adjustments to their respective schedules yesterday. Starting with MotoGP, we'll see 2 races in Qatar on back-to-back weekends, followed by a race in Portimao. Unfortunately, we saw 2 races get postponed in the United States and Argentina. Losing the Grand Prix in Argentina is definitely a tough break for our colleague Jessica from Paddock Insight. We really hate it for her. And looking at the America's Grand Prix, MotoGP says it's been postponed until the last quarter of 2021. That's the same thing for Argentina. If MotoGP is unable to race in the United States this year, is it a big blow to the effort of attracting more American fans?
It is, and especially MotoGP. Last year was their first season on NBC Sports. Of course, it was delayed due to the COVID mess. We lost the United States Grand Prix. That was the missed opportunity for United States fans to go out there, watch the racing. If they can't come back this year to Austin, Texas, it's just another big blow. And of course, what's going to happen to MotoGP once NBC Sports shut down? Of course, they have that online streaming app. That is something I utilize as well, but it's definitely something where for the casual fan to get that exposure to motorcycle racing, it's a big blow to their efforts.
In the NTT IndyCar Series season opener at Barber Motorsports shifted back a week to April 18th for the sole purpose of broadcasting the race on NBC instead of NBCSN, and we'll see a total of 9 IndyCar races on NBC. And NBC said that was definitely a record for most IndyCar races on network television on NBC, which is really fantastic. Then the FIA World Endurance Championship had to cancel the season opener at 1,000 miles of Sebring for the second consecutive year. Really unfortunate for the Super Sebring weekend, and they replaced it with an 8-hour endurance race at Portimao. Joe, is this only the beginning of many changes that we'll see on the racing calendar throughout the year?
It is starting to become a trend where we're going to see, I think, a lot of changes throughout the 2021 year. Different countries are going to have different response times to this pandemic. We know United States here, there's a vaccine going out. They're trying to ramp it up, make that vaccine effort faster. We know some countries, they're battling the new, essentially mutated, more contagious disease. That might slow down efforts, slow down recovery times. It's going to be something where, as each country, each location handles it different. Even in the United States, different states are handling different. We're looking at NASCAR not coming to California for the time being. Same with IndyCar. It's going to be very fluid, and I can only imagine every series, no matter where, international base like Formula One, MotoGP, American base like NASCAR, IndyCar, or even just a local short track series, they're just monitoring the situation, being aware of the changes that are going on, and making contingency plans.
And continuing our discussion on the pandemic for a moment, yesterday, Atrium Health made an exciting announcement regarding a track on the NASCAR schedule. Charlotte Motor Speedway will serve as a mass vaccination site that will administer over 16,000 vaccinations that got underway yesterday at 7:30 a.m. and lasting until 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Vaccinations are happening today. So right now, as we speak, live, and tomorrow at Charlotte, and it's the same time during the 12-hour window, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. However, all appointment slots for this max vaccination event have filled up, according to Atrium Health. Charlotte Motor Speedway became the first professional sports venue in the state of North Carolina to host a mass vaccination event. Mass vaccination events like this will allow more North Carolinians to get vaccinated as the effort ramps up in hopes of squashing this global pandemic so we can all return to normal, get back to the racetrack, and return to a sense of normalcy that we enjoyed in the pre-pandemic world. Now it's time to end our program with some quick takes.
Landon Cassill will race full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He'll be driving the number 4 Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, joining confirmed teammates of Jeffrey Earnhardt, the number 0, and Kobe Howard, the number 15. His last full-time run was 2019 when he drove for Starcom Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. 2014, he ran full-time the Xfinity Series, finishing 12th in the final standings.
Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus named a pair of drivers for his Le Mans Hypercar program, and they were Ryan Briscoe and Gustavo Meneses. Briscoe last raced full-time for Wayne Taylor Racing's DPI program in IMSA last season, while Meneses has been with Rebellion Racing for several seasons in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Originally, Glickenhaus was going to skip the Sebring season opener. Then the pandemic canceled Sebring, and now Glickenhaus plans to enter the season opening round at Portimao.
The FIA World Endurance Championship confirms 33 full-time entries for the 2021 year, 5 in Le Mans Hypercars that includes 2 Toyotas, 2 Glickenhaus, and 1 Alpine grandfather LMP1. We have 11 in LMP2, 4 in GT Pro, 2 Ferraris, 2 Porsche, same platform that is struggling in IMSA currently with the GTLM, 13 in GTE AM. The 8 Hours of Portimao is scheduled on April 4th to kick off this season.
Juncos Racing confirmed their second full-time Indy Lights entry with Toby Sowery joining the team alongside Stingray Raw. Oh, I love that name right there. In 2019, Sowery competed for the Indy Lights Championship, finished third in the points, and scored one race victory at Portland International Raceway, which is the home base for Grid Network.
AJ Allmendinger will race the NASCAR Cup Series Daytona Road Course event. Kaulig Racing will enter the event with AJ Allmendinger for the driver. AJ Allmendinger has won a rain-soaked Xfinity Charlotte Roval for Kaulig Racing last year. His only Cup Series career win was at Watkins Glen in 2014. Kaulig is eyeing a full-time Cup Series program, and this is his latest move in that attempt. Kaz Grala with Kaulig Racing is attempting to qualify for the Daytona 500.
After Williams gave him his first big break in Formula One, Jenson Button is finally coming home. Williams Racing announced that Jenson Button will return to the team as a senior advisor. In 2000, Williams signed Button to drive for the team his rookie year in Formula One and finished 8th in the point standings. Since then, Button won the 2009 Formula One World Championship and spent many years gaining valuable experience in the sport as Williams continues his march up the grid. With 2 young drivers, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Button's knowledge will be invaluable.
Black Swan Racing is not at Daytona for the Rolex 24 Hours. Black Swan Racing had to withdraw from the race because team owner Tim Pappas tested positive for COVID-19. Pappas told Sports Car 365 he was unaware that his teammate in the 24 Hours of Dubai was COVID positive and later tested positive himself. He did admit it that he was starting to show mild symptoms of the virus. Between now and the next race weekend, drivers participating in the Rolex 24 should remain vigilant and do their best to stay healthy. Last thing they will want is to leave their team scrambling to make last-minute driver replacement in case one of them fails or worse, withdraw from the race.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see that happen at all. And in worst case scenario, if a driver does test positive, that's certainly gonna throw a wrench in a team's plans, especially if it's after Wednesday, much later in the weekend. It's even worse if you're an LMP2, LMP3, or GTD team, because I know IMSA has special rules with the driver ratings where you can only have like this rated driver and then the bronze and all of that, silver, gold, all of that jazz. So if one of those drivers tests positive, then you're gonna have to try to go out and find a driver who matches the FIA driver ratings. And that might be very difficult, especially with pandemic travel. There might not be anyone I mean, there'll probably be someone available here in the United States, but it'll definitely be difficult. Or especially with travel restrictions now all around the world. If it happened earlier in the week and you try to get a driver to fly from Europe or whatever, they might not be able to make it. So definitely, this is a time where all drivers need to really take this pandemic seriously, so they do not put themselves and their teams in a very tough spot. And unfortunately, we're all out of time for today, but we invite you to visit our Patreon website to invest in Grid Network. We've been on the air every week since our first show together, Joe and I, May 17th, 2020. And the only exception was December 24th through January 5th because we were on holiday break. Our first show of 2021 occurred on January 6th. And we are always very transparent with your investment. For viewers that have and care about dogs, visit Paw Bless, our sponsor. The link in the video description below gets you a 10% discount. Portions of each sale goes towards helping homeless and ill dogs, so definitely a great cause. We care about our furry friends. and we definitely encourage you to check out Paul Bless. Looking at the schedule for the week ahead: Wednesday, Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. Thursday, a brand new episode of The Women Racing to Win. Friday, the very first episode of 2021 for Life on the Grid. We'll have young stock car racer Roger Carruth on the program. Then Saturday, a special Rolex 24 pre-race show. So definitely Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're gonna be very busy here at Grid Network. For Joe Samdiego, I'm Kobe Lambert from the PodiumFinish.net. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Joe Samdiego here. Want to invite you to go check out Pawbliss. Pawbliss is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out pawbliss.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.